Hey there, it's Julie Hutchison here from Think, Be, Do Leadership. And today we're talking about whether or not you may be losing them in the first 30 seconds before you even get into what you want to tell people and about communication. Or not telling people about communication. What I'm talking about is that there are 4 things that you need to do to make sure that people are sitting up and listening before you start to tell them everything you want to tell them about the subject that you want to tell them about. And that's what I want to talk about today. And that's why there's a picture of a meerkat in the blurb for this for this live, because meerkats sitting up and listen because they're interested, they're looking around and they're waiting for something to happen. And that's what we're talking about here. We want people to be ready to hear what you've got to say, are absolutely eating out of your hand, and are really engaged with what you want to say before you even say it. And the problem is that doesn't always happen, does it? So maybe you feel that people aren't paying attention when you speak, or when you try and tell them what to do, or when you want them to help you with something and they don't listen, or they're not listening properly, or they just don't seem to be very interested. And you're thinking, what's wrong? Why are they not hearing it? This is really important stuff and they need to know. Maybe you've got to get your point across in a meeting, or you're talking to the board and they're just like not really paying attention. And you're thinking, this is so important for the business, yet nothing's happening. They're not buying into what you want to say. And the reason why is probably these 4 things. So today, that's what we're going to talk about. We are going to talk about why this, why now, why me, and why you. Okay, so if you're listening live to this, hello, and please say hello, and please feel free to put some comments in about what you're hearing, whether you agree, disagree, or if you've got any questions. And if you're listening on replay, just put hashtag replay and any comments and I'll get back to them. But please tag me because I might not see them. Okay, so what am I talking about? Well, the other day, actually a week ago now, I was not very well with COVID and I was feeling a little bit sorry for myself. So I was watching TV and I found a film called Don't Look Up. And it was about this, I suppose, astronomer chap in America, and him and his sidekick, female second lead, let's say. It was a bit Leonardo DiCaprio and this lady, I can't remember her name now. They found a comet that was heading towards Earth, and it was super important because everybody was going to die. Okay, and they needed to tell everybody to do something about it. They wanted to communicate that we need to find a plan to knock this comet off of its course. And the problem is that they went off to the president, and she was not listening. It was a woman. She was not listening to him. It's interesting. They obviously didn't make it very real to the time, but thank goodness they chose a woman anyway. But she wasn't listening anyway, so she had no interest, and her sidekick, the bloke, had no interest either. And the reason was because there was a number of things going on, not least the first one, which is, why should I be interested in this subject? Okay, so this guy was massively intelligent. He was full of knowledge about what the comet was going to do, how long it was going to take, and all of those things. But he couldn't articulate what he was trying to say to the president. She was just not interested because she didn't understand why this was important. She wasn't really listening, and it was a bit of a comical thing. But the point was that he didn't get his point across as to why this particular subject was important to her. Okay, why should you even care about this subject? And the problem is that when we're talking about things that we know a lot about, it's very easy to start jumping into the detail about how things do, the process, or the bits and pieces of what's going to go on, forgetting that we need to get people interested in the subject itself. Why should they care about this subject? Okay, maybe this subject of I don't know. Well, let's say the comet coming in to hit the Earth. Why is that important? Well, the world is going to end, and she couldn't grasp it, and he didn't really put that across in that way. And if you are the same, that you're not getting that person to understand why the subject itself is important before you go in to give them all the detail, then they're going to be overwhelmed, and they're not sitting up like a meerkat waiting for what you've got to say. They're not eating out of your hand before you've got them. Okay, so subject is super important. It's like you've not caught their attention. So we have to find a way to catch their attention in relation to, first point, the subject. But then that doesn't do it all, because the second point is, why now? So what do I mean by that? Well, I could think that a comet flying around that might hit Earth is important, okay? But I might not want to do anything about it. And the president didn't want to do anything about it because what wasn't appreciated was the timing of this. Why is this important right now? Now, in the film, of course, it was like, I don't know, 20 days or something like that until the comet was going to hit the Earth. So actually, it was super important that they did something right now. And when you're talking to people and you want them to act on something, it isn't that they think it's important, but they need to think it's important to do something now or to buy something now. For example, I might think, at some point, I'm going to buy myself a new car. But if there's no urgency to do it now, and I can't think of why that would be, then I might put that off, do it another day, never really get round to it. And the same is for you. If you want somebody to act or agree or something, they need to understand, why should they be listening to this right now? Because they've got loads of priorities. And therefore, if you can't get that across, then they're not listening still because there's no urgency to what you're saying. Okay, so that's point 2. The next one is, why should they listen to you personally? And no offense, but we need to tell them that, because otherwise we're just another one saying something. Yeah. And so imagine this. Imagine you've gone for a health check and you've been told that I don't know where I got this one from, but you've got something to be removed from the inside. Let's say you've got some polyps or something, and somebody's got to go down there and remove these things, and you're like, oh my god, this is really a worry. And you're offered the student doctor. There's nothing wrong with students, but imagine they said, well, you can have a discounted price. You can have Bob, who's only got a year, or you can have Felicity, who's got 25 years experience and is absolutely top of her game. And who are you going to go for when you want somebody to poke around up there? And so you're going to go for somebody who knows what they're talking about, who is guaranteed to get you the results that you want. And so when you're talking to people and you want them to choose you or pick you or listen to you, there has to be a reason why they are choosing you. Okay. So you have to articulate what it is about you that's different from other people, or what it is about you that is why they should be listening to you. Okay, so think about that doctor. You're not going to choose a GP. You're not going to choose a student. You're going to choose a consultant. You're going to choose somebody with a lot of expertise. And the reason is because you trust them. And so what we're trying to do is to show that we are the right person to be talking about this. Make sense? Good. Okay. And then the last one that everybody seems to leave off is, it's often missed, and that is, why them? Why are you telling them? And why should they be interested personally or in their business, for example? So what's in it for me? And because you can think about that, it's like, well, okay, let me think of another example. Tenerife is a really nice place to go on holiday, and it's really great at this time of year. So it's like, well, Tenerife holiday, it's good for people to have a holiday. It's good to go in this time of year. So this is why. Yeah. Why should I? Well, I'm taking you because I'm an expert in showing people around Tenerife or whatever it might be. But why you? Well, you really love to sit in the sun, and you really love to take your partner on holiday, or you said you were stressed. So what I'm talking about is finding why they should listen to you, so that it can prick up their ears like that meerkat. Not that they've got massive ears, but prick up their ears and understand what's in it for them to bother to listen to you. Okay, so you've got why the subject. Why should I even be talking about holidays, for example, in general? Why should we doing it now? What's the urgency? Let me give you an example of that. The urgency. Imagine your mother-in-law's coming round in 10 minutes, and all of that stuff, that clutter that's in your house that you really can't be bothered to clear up, or your kitchen's a mess, you haven't done the washing up. Suddenly, your mother-in-law's coming round, and you think, oh my goodness, tidy up, and it suddenly becomes a priority. So why now is important. Okay, so we've got the subject, we've got the why now, and we've got the why me. Why should I listen to the person that's speaking to me? Why themselves? Okay, why them? Why should they care? What's in it for them? And when you get those 4 points, what that means is the person is absolutely primed to listen to the detail of what you've got to say. Okay, so all of this is before you've got into the detail, which is where a lot of people go wrong, because they start giving you the detail before they give you the whys, the wherefores, i.e. the why should I listen? Why should you listen to me? Why should you listen to the subject? Why now? And why you? Okay, so imagine it like this. Imagine you've got a present and you're standing there and you've got this present and you're really excited because you're going to give this gift to somebody. And you tell them you've got a gift. What does it do if you tell them you've got a gift? Anticipation, excitement. Ooh, what could it be? Yeah. And that's a bit like what this is. When you do these 4 things, it's like telling somebody you've got a gift for them. They're like excited to hear what you've got to say. They're excited for what's behind the curtain, let's say. And when you get to that point, at that point, you open the gift, you unwrap the gift, and you show them what's inside. And when you do that, then they are listening, they are looking, they are anticipating that gift, and they are ready and primed to hear what you've got to say. And at that point, then they're going to take on board what you want. And as long as you're obviously talking sense when you do that, but if you've done this piece, you've got the most chance of actually being attentive, listening, and thinking this is going to be a great thing. So they're in the right frame of mind, they're in the right state to take on board what you want to say. So if that's been helpful to you, then do let me know. Give me a message if you feel like you would actually want to work on specifically how you can do this in your business or in your career, because we work on this in our Communication Champions program. And you can join that program if you'd like to. It's a 12-week program that helps you with all of the different ways in which you need to communicate. This being one of those things, which is get people interested before you start talking. So give me a shout if you would like some help with that, or you have some views on what we've talked about today. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful day. And I will speak to you next week on the next subject on leaders and communication. Thank you.